Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is March 9, 2025.
And we're all broke.
I
Turn,
mean, the
where
S&P,
are the buyers? I'm in Park City, Utah, my partner Tom's place. And where's my tequila, Tom? Tom? All right,
yeah,
to get me a tequila. It's a big house.
yeah, the S&P is only down 6% from its all-time highs, but it feels like it's
Well, I
pretty.
think it feels more because if we look at Apple, Ivan, let's just quickly pull up Apple.
Yeah, if you look at all the momentum leaders, they're down between 20 and 50%. So
Right.
maybe that's
Apple's
why.
Apple's held the market together. JP Morgan, there's a couple big companies holding the market up. So the damage is much worse than the index is shut.
Yeah, I
Apple.
mean, one by one, the market is taking
Yeah,
down.
Apple's next to go, and then we'll probably start.
Yeah, all momentum leaders. I mean, last week we talked about financials, right? They're holding well. I mean, didn't last too long. They
Yeah,
were hit pretty hard. Pretty big bearish reversal candle here. Now down
yeah.
7%. Um,
Big
uh,
distribution.
yeah, very big red candle. I mean, macro-wise, like from a 10,000 foot perspective, S&P went down to its 200-day moving average. The QQQ, they went down to their 50-week moving average, and typically bear markets live below those moving average. Like the last time we had a bear market in 2022, at least this is my definition, is when those two indices spent a considerable time under their 200-day.
So Ivan, if we're looking on this is the this is market surge, but this like March 22, we started breaking below the 200, and then it just stayed down there for it was ugly. So the
Yeah,
sixes mass. That was when every fucking fintech went down 90%. Uh, So the indexes weren't nearly as bad as tech. And right now, if we just went through the momentum like Palantir, HIMS, um, if we just went through them all, well, I mean,
yeah.
Palantir still looks great.
I mean,
HIMS,
this is
NVIDIA,
weekly. This is weekly. Yeah,
okay, yeah. So the dailies are being busted. NVIDIA's rolled over.
yeah.
Again, so this is where bad things can happen. Meaning, we're not being bearish, but this is when you have to just, this is when really bad things can happen, right?
Yes, just look at the market reaction to earnings. When was the last time when we basically saw every single upside earnings gap getting completely closed and getting sold off?
Completely closed.
This is typically happening, bearish markets, and there are very few stocks that held their earnings gap. IBM is one of them for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they're holding it.
Well,
Uh,
because they are so Accenture, IBM, that's interesting, but Accenture, IBM, they're kind of holding their gains because not Accenture, just
no,
IBM.
only IBM, only IBM. Yeah,
Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's go, let's see what you're saying. I mean, obviously everybody knows by now, uh, the market's hitting the 200-day moving average. A crazy week, tariffs on, tariffs on, but the warnings were there. Um, and now even the Nasdaq 100's at the 200-day or below, just right at it, huh? Went
yeah.
below.
I mean, it seems like many market participants have been expecting that because there's been an ongoing rotation into defensive sectors since the beginning of the year. Like, healthcare is the leading sector here today, telecoms, like fast food chains like McDonald's, typically names that you see outperforming when the market is expecting economic slowdown. These are exactly the groups
Okay.
that are outperforming.
Yep.
And outside of that, we have
We
gold.
get we get a tequila. Ooh, what do we got? Ooh, Maple Leafs. Sorry, we're going to a hockey game tomorrow. Tom just showed me the Maple Leafs.
Awesome.
So go ahead, keep going.
Outside of those defensive sectors, we have gold,
Yep.
European and Chinese stocks. I mean, European and Chinese stocks, their
Well, at least we've
indices,
been on the Chinese stocks. I wasn't until a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't on the European stocks, but
yeah, they're up about 15 to 20% since the US elections, while the S&P is down about 2% for the same time. So
yeah.
notable rotation back. I don't know if this is capital going back home, to those countries for whatever reason, or
No,
just
you have two things happen. You have a weak dollar, just fundamental, and you have deglobalization, right? We've been talking about that here. But when you have deglobalization and every man for himself, countries got to spend money, so they're all going to rearm. So what's dangerous this time is just who are they borrowing from? So the dollar is getting hammered. Good news on, I mean, that's been good for international stocks. Um, the Economist just had a cover just with Trump lighting fire to the US dollar. And so I doubt this. I think you'll probably get some kind of reprieve this week or next with some kind of reversal. But again, that's just my instincts from watching the markets for 20 years. Everybody's now thinks the world is coming to an end and it never plays out in a straight line. So you have two things going on. You have deglobalization and continuization of like the degenerate degeneracy, right? So in the United States, it's the so people are flooding the healthcare, like you said, McDonald's, um, um, Apple,
telecoms like
Apple's, oh yeah, I mean, even
yeah,
Verizon for whatever reason,
yeah.
with the big dividend, like I mean, that's been a good place to hide it. Wow, T-Mobile. And I think Verizon's like whoever picked that up, they got the dividend and off 30% run here in the last 6 months. So kudos to that. Big dividend. So there's stuff working. It's the people are screaming because everybody's in the same trade. Facebook,
Yeah.
Google, uh, you know, the Nasdaq, but these are small blips. So people just aren't used to the pain. So I think you have to truly listen to the market. The market's shifting to a bit of defensive. Um, deglobalization is anti-growth, at least, true global growth. And you can see it in Tesla. You can see it in Apple, which isn't even growing. You can see it in NVIDIA's chart rolling over, and even the data center charts that were on fire are getting ripped apart in the semiconductor stocks. So people are kind of switching their outlook, and you just don't want to fight the tape. And so China's look good, don't chase it. Europe stocks look good. I wouldn't chase it because they've been helped by if you look at Germany breaking out to like all-time highs. But again, I wouldn't chase it because it's been helped by the dollar in the last month or two. So, the pullback is where you want to see it could scream a little bit higher, but it's the first pullback that you want to see. So if you go back to the China chart, Ivan, when that first jihad, when everything came back into China like a few months ago, if we look at BABA, if you pull up BABA, that first thrust, like 2, 3 months ago, it came back huge. And it's this next move that feels more real. So I think the same thing's going to happen in if truly European stocks are going to get some wind here. Um, and that's more like non-technical stocks. That's more like meat and potato, cement stocks and electricity stocks. And uh, then it'll be the first pullback that you look at. But Americans are on this diet of like growth. They've been so satisfied by FANG, right? So it's tough for people to get out because it's been so good for so long.
I think everyone is, the whole world is invested in those, seven,
S&P,
seven, eight big tech stocks.
yeah. So it's not fun, but this is just part of the market, right? So
Yeah,
how are you playing it
I
right now?
mean, just looking at my trades the past couple weeks, the only times I made money is when I was trading intraday. Anything that I held
That's hard.
overnight to swing, I basically lost.
Yeah,
So it's a very volatile tape, where just for nimble traders, so you have to be quick
yeah,
if you really want to make money in it. Um, so
yeah.
basically that's how I'm approaching it, just high cash overnight and just, having some intraday hits and because that's what's been working as of right now. Things can change quickly.
Things can
Uh,
change quickly. I do feel like there's just a general overcrowding in the same trade. But at the same time, it's been such a good trend for so long. I just can't see it falling apart overnight. So
Yeah, I
um,
mean, I
these
would expect
companies,
that here, we can see some form of a bounce
yeah,
after,
yeah,
this pullback because the 200-day, the 50-week moving average has held this bull market basically since the beginning of 2023, and it was tested several times where it held.
yeah.
So if it's going to bounce, it's going to be here. Otherwise, we might be entering, a prolonged
Yeah, I
correction
worry.
market.
I kind of more hoping for like a panic in the 420s or, but I feel like this could go on a little
Yeah, I
longer.
mean, typically the deeper the correction, the better the opportunities afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I saw the
I see
one
if
of my
you're like,
stocks.
that's why I wanted to ask you, if you're kind of struggling, scratching it out intraday, the average person should not be trading. And that's kind of my instinct. It's just raise cash, protect your gains. I'm surprised a lot of my degenerate economy stuff. A lot of it's international with C-base, SE, and then the exchanges are doing great still.
Yeah,
But
there's still areas in the markets that are holding, like
yeah,
as mentioned, gold, rare earth metals, like this one, MP, kind of setting up near its 52-week highs. That's
rare
space
earth.
space
What's their
stock.
weeklies look like on that? Yeah, ASTS is kind of in.
This is the weekly. It's working on a new base here,
Yeah,
but obviously,
ASTS is interesting because Elon owns this space with the Starlink, but with his behavior being as crazy as it is, ASTS is getting a bid, right? Because the Mexican guy canceled his order. Elon was fighting with the Polish guy, over Starlink on Twitter. So he's helping this little company, which is what's the market cap on ASTS?
let's see, 6.7, no, 10 billion, 10 billion as of right now.
Helping this little company just StockTwits has been all over this for 800%, but it's got a second wind here, and a lot of it is just based on Elon kind of fucking up. I mean, they have Starlink is by far miles ahead. But what happens if a European company? What happens if Europe comes in and buys this out? Just because they're so fed up with Starlink. So I said there's a lot of like major stuff going on. But underneath the surface, there's lots of cash. Rates have been holding, right? They backed up a little this last week, but rates have kind of been holding. And I think we got to keep an eye on the dollar, right? Which has been a boon for the international stocks, but like it's in kind of crash mode. So you don't want to see anything crash. And like that's a big move in the dollar over the last month.
I mean, yeah, and it came with the ECB, cutting their interest rates, probably the market expecting that now that unemployment is starting to tick higher, that maybe the Fed we really have no other option than also cut the interest rates further.
Yeah, I did. I should have shared on StockTwits and Twitter that car people late on their car payments 2 months is at the highest level ever. That's 2 months, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
that's a very big market. Like we're talking
no, but that
about
is the market, right? People in
1.7
America
trillion.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can't afford to fall behind on their car payments, right? Because they need their car to get to work, and everybody's making you go back to work. So
I
that's
thought
giving
everybody's
me a
working
little.
from home, so I don't
And
know.
if you look at a firm, look at a firm. It looked great a month ago, AFRM,
Yeah.
right? And then just crash. So again, the consumer is in somewhat terrible shape. It kind of American Express would hide it because they deal with the 1% or the 10%, right? And that's a great market, but even that got hammered. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, that's like a 20% drop in American Express. So, we're right there. I mean, the market could stage a rally here. You need to see some strength. What are you looking for before you start holding stuff overnight?
I mean, right now correlations are so high that basically stocks are moving together up and down. So we're already seeing some divergences, bullish divergences. So all we need to, and on Friday we saw that bounce at the 50-week moving average. So um, I'm looking for a follow through. And I expect that the rips will probably be a shorting opportunities, but those rips, they could last, a week or so.
Right.
So I'm looking for a follow through basically on Friday's strength.
Yeah, you could rally 10, 15% and still be okay. Got it.
Yeah, I mean it's a tactical market. Like I wouldn't, just I mean obviously everyone has his own strategy, but for me it's a tactical market where you need to be in and out basically and just play
Yeah.
the ranges.
I think you've got to play from defense here, but it's not as bad as it looks. What worries me is the consumer is, home price is still high. Consumers are making their car payments, and it's only been a couple months. And you've got a you got a White House that's just incredibly volatile, and the Democrats look as bad as any party's ever looked, just the miserable, mopey faces. And behavior's erratic, man. Like people are shooting up Tesla dealerships. People are angry, and that's
Yeah, Tesla gave up its all its
great.
profits since the election. Like literally, they closed that gap.
The people
Um,
were jubilant on that move. Look at the volume on that breakout, Ivan.
yeah, and it's basically
People are
down
all underwater, like pretty much.
50% since its all-time
Most
price.
people
Yeah.
chase that post-election move. So there are so many Tesla shareholders underwater, and they could be for a very long time. So
I mean, it's okay to chase as long as you have an exit strategy.
yeah,
There are a lot of people that made a lot of money. Like it was my best trade
true,
last year.
true. But there
But
were buyers for all those sellers. So those are some disgruntled people. And I remember a lot of index holders own this stock. So if you own an index, you're buried in this too. All right, everybody have a great week. I would say treat this market with some respect right here. But keep an eye on Ivan too. You can follow him anywhere on StockTwits there. He's sharing ideas. And if you're going to trade, I think you got to be nimble right here. Like I
yeah,
see.
exactly. All right. Thank you,
All right, have a
Howard.
good week, everybody.
Bye.